All right, James Skrmetta Podcast. Welcome to the show. I'm kind of laughing, kind of smiling here because this setup is insane. And if you're not watching on YouTube, it means you're listening on. Honestly, I have no idea because right now we're not on anything. I think we're going to try and get on Anchor, but I'm not even sure what Anchor is. So that's a possibility. But YouTube is where we live, and 99%, maybe 100%. of podcasts we've ever done have been with a green screen. And so I set up everything, and I was going to do a green screen. I was going to set it up with the green screen, like usual. And I set it up in this spare bedroom is where I've done everything, where I do all my content. And the spare bedroom is probably 10 by 10, I think it is. I think I measured it one time. I think it's 10 by 10. And so one wall is green screened. Then there's a wall with like a closet, so it's unusable. And then this wall, and there's a window here and a window here. And if you're listening on audio, I can understand how bad this would be, but I'm guessing not most people are not listening on audio, so or at least watching the screen. So I can use the green screen wall and this corner from where my fingers are touching to where my fingers are touching. And so I set it up for the green screen. Everything went to shit because the table reflects the green. So the green screen would have greened out some of the table. So the walls and ceiling and stuff were in the camera. So the setup that I have right now is the first time I've ever done this. I've moved this room around twice. I've been up for probably 5 hours now. 4 hours. 4 hours now. Just setting this room up. It's like 8:30 in the morning, somewhere around there. And so yeah, we're doing this. Originally, I had nothing on the table except the microphone. And I was looking, it looked like I was in an insane asylum. That is the hardest sentence of all time. Like I'm in an insane asylum. That is a tongue twister. It's a very sad and very dark tongue twister, and it's very depressing. But it's a tongue twister nonetheless. And so anyway, I just started grabbing stuff. So I have this mic, my coffee cup, which is filled with coffee that I've reheated, my third cup of coffee. So anxiety's through the roof. So if I start WebMDing stuff, it's because I think I'm having a heart attack. Heart palpitations, out of control, chest tight, elephant sitting on my chest, all the good stuff, all the classic heart attack things. This basket of rocks. This is the what is it called? The pink salt, Himalayan salt lamp. I bought it probably 2 years ago. I think I've turned it on 3 times, including this time right here. These rocks are disgusting. They have like mold on them. So I think some of these rocks are just rocks. Like some of these are pink Himalayan salt, and then some of these are just like rocks from the driveway. So this is here. This belt got out of the closet, had spider webs on it whenever I pulled it out. There could be spiders everywhere. There's more than likely spiders in this Himalayan salt basket, and there's more than likely spiders hiding in this belt. So I could get brown recluse at any given time. But we're going to do we're going to persevere. And this studio is where this setup is hopefully the podcast setup for the future. And I would love to get some art, to get some shelves, put some stuff back here, and kind of in this general area, so it doesn't look like I'm in an insane asylum as much, or that I am in a gray apocalyptic hellscape. So that's what's going on. But we're going to get into some topics. This could be a long podcast, and because we have a lot of topics to talk about. So sit back and enjoy. This is going to be just a free-flowing, legit podcast radio show here. And I have my computer screen turned around over here, so I can see everything and monitor the audio, monitor the video and stuff. So it is what it is. So this is interesting. This is really interesting for me to not be in front of a green screen, because I've been doing it for so long. I mean, if you go back on my channel, every video is green screen pretty much. So the fact that I can just kind of move freely, move around, do stuff. There's no lighting issues. Feels pretty cool. And this setup is a setup that I want to have while we have guests and stuff like that. I have a couch over here, and I want to get like a curtain to cover the closet and to help the audio a little bit. And then we should start having guests. And that'd be awesome. That'd be mad dope. So if you know of a guest or think of a guest or have an idea of who you'd like to see on the show, then let me know. It is, again, Friday morning, 8:30 a.m. I've been up since about 4:30 because it takes me so long to get ready in the morning. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's everybody, but I am a mess in the morning. I mean, I am a monster in the morning. When I wake up, I look like I just got my ass kicked. And that's what I look like every morning. I wake up, hair is everywhere, face disgusting. I wear contacts so I can't see. So my eyes are like burning. They're always hurting. Face is puffy. I'm probably sweating. Skin blotchy. I mean, it just looks like I don't know what I do in my sleep, but it feels like the movie 1917. I feel like I went through the entire movie 1917 in my sleep. Like 6 hours, 8 hours, however long I'm asleep, I'm just getting my ass kicked. I'm just in war. I'm in hell. I'm just fighting for my life. That's how I look like when I wake up. I'm sneezing. My nose is running. I sound like garbage. Throat's all messed up. I honestly don't know what happens when I sleep. I need to get one of those like paranormal activity videos, but I don't want to accidentally find that my house is haunted. So I had to wake up, get my life together, figure it out, and long enough to even be able to come on video. Not like Peter North, but just to be here on video. And meanwhile, drinking coffee, accidentally got to the third cup. So now we're doing that. But this upcoming week, so this entire podcast will go up probably Monday. And I'll be in Texas. I'll be in Dallas, Texas all week, the 3rd to the whenever. So I won't be streaming, won't be doing that stuff, but I should have clips from this podcast, other videos set up, and I might try and record something Monday, like from the hotel room, about the Super Bowl. Because it'd be pretty remiss for me to be the smartest person in the world and not talk about the Super Bowl and all the shenanigans that go on. But that kind of, I like traveling. I like going to different places, whatever. Been going on planes a lot. Recently went to Ohio a couple weeks ago, Columbus. That was amazing. Talked about that on stream last week. Went to Orlando about a month ago. And going to Texas, and then going to Atlanta, Georgia the following week, and then San Antonio this summer. But I like traveling in general. I don't like traveling right now because I go through the Atlanta airport a lot, almost, I guess, twice every time I travel. So, a lot of times. And with all this coronavirus stuff, it's kind of scaring the shit out of me. I'm not even going to lie. The coronavirus, at the beginning, I thought I misunderstood the coronavirus. I'm not even going to lie to you. I misunderstood the coronavirus. I thought the coronavirus only happened on May 5th. I'm just kidding. I didn't think that. That's obviously a Cinco de Mayo joke. But I thought the coronavirus was just the flu. That's what it sounded like. They said cough, cold, flu, that's it. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, whatever. People get the flu all the time. I have NyQuil, I have DayQuil. I'm locked and loaded. I'm good. Nothing's going to happen to me. And, I don't usually get sick anyways. I'm feeling good about the coronavirus for a couple weeks, whatever. I'm not even really listening to the news reports. Then last night, not even 24 hours ago, 12 hours ago, a friend of mine opened my eyes to the coronavirus. And now I'm terrified. And he showed me the bat soup. He showed me a kid eating tadpoles. He showed me a person having a seizure. He explained that the coronavirus starts off as the cold and the flu, but there's no cure for it, and then it turns into like SARS, and then you just die. And it has like a 14% mortality rate, like an 83% contamination rate. He basically read through the script of Resident Evil and then Contagion. And at this point now, I am scared to leave my house. At this point now, where we are sitting, in between the spider basket and the spider belt, I'm terrified to leave my house. I'm shrouded in a cloud of fear. And honestly, China, let me just say this about China. I'm flat out disappointed. I'm not disappointed about the coronavirus. It could have happened to anybody. But what the hell are y'all doing eating bat soup? What the hell are y'all doing eating porcupines? What the hell are y'all doing eating frogs and eating damn orangutans and tadpoles? And, I would say that the coronavirus is like a plague, and I'm waiting for frogs to fall from the sky and stuff. But if frogs fell from the sky, if frogs started raining from the sky, China would run out and get a damn snack, because they'd be eating up those frogs. Where are the bat soup? Where is the frog? Where is the tadpoles at Chinese buffets? I thought Chinese buffets, and I thought food in China was egg rolls and General Tso's chicken and all kind of delicious stuff that I loved, like crab rangoons. That ain't what it is. General Tso is a fraud. General Tso is a liar. Crab rangoons are lies. Okay? Open your eyes, America, or whoever listens to this. Open your eyes about what's happening over there. They're eating porcupines. Sandshrew, Sandslash from Pokemon Red and Blue is lunch over there. I am disgusted with the menu. Bat soup? This looks so gross, I thought it was fake. Nope, not fake, just a delicacy. This virus is real. We ain't seeing a 2021. This is it. Congratulations. This is the end of days. I will probably never leave this room again unless these brown recluses take over, and then it's not even my room. Then I'm just a prisoner in their spider jail. Which, that's what it looks like in here, with these gray walls. Like I have had this house for 2 years. I can't believe I've had this color wall. The coronavirus is scary. It is scaring me. These damn... And then... So we have Mardi Gras where I'm from, okay? Then I see a meme, and it ain't a meme, because it's not funny. Memes are supposed to be funny. And it ain't funny, and it ain't a meme. So then I see this meme about how all these Mardi Gras beads are made in China, and they're about to just throw them off these floats to hundreds of thousands of people where I live. Well, okay, it's over. Perfect plan. Perfect plan. Perfect plan has been put into action. Make a bunch of beads covered in bat soup, throw them out to drunk revelers. They put them around their neck. LMAO, Resident Evil. That's. I'm about to be in The Walking Dead. That's what's about to be happening. And it sounds ridiculous. You know what else sounds ridiculous? Bat soup. You know what else sounds ridiculous? Kids eating tadpoles. And that's happening. Bottom line. That's happening right now. Then I turn on the news. I see a cruise ship docked outside of Italy. 2 people on the cruise ship come down with the coronavirus. The bat flu. And they just docked the ship. There's like 6,000 people on the ship. They just quarantined it off the coast of Italy. What the hell? What if these 2 people get off the boat? First of all, what if they get off the boat and go walk around Italy? Boom. See you, Italy. Bye-bye. Ciao. Ciao. It's over. What about the other 6,000 people on this damn cruise ship? Are they infested? Is it even infested? I don't even know if I'm using the words right. So now we have 6,000 people on a cruise ship that's basically a nuclear missile. Everywhere I turn. And I've got to go to the Atlanta airport in 2 days, and then again in 5 days. I'm traveling all over the place. Am I going to get it? I've been drinking so much bone broth and eating so much spinach to try not get sick already, just from like the cold and the flu, because I've been traveling so much. And now this, I better not even see a bat. I better not even see Christian Bale. I don't want to see anybody. If Val Kilmer walked up to me, I'd just start screaming. I mean, I honestly don't know what I would do if Christian Bale came up to me right now, I'd be terrified. If Christian Bale was carrying a bowl of egg drop soup, that's honestly my nightmare. That's nightmare fuel for me. This coronavirus is real, guys. The bat flu is real. Y'all better wake up. Y'all better absolutely wake up right now, because this is serious. I'm feeling good. This is our third podcast of the new year, the new decade. And I'm feeling good. I'm sounding good. I'm looking like $1 million. And I'm excited for you to be here. Thank you all for being a part of this. We just recently rebranded a lot of channels. So if you're not privy to what we do, if you're not privy to all the content that we create on an outrageous level, go down in the description below and you'll be able to find all that content. Next up, I tell you what, the news has been insane. The news has really been crazy recently. And it's not just because of the coronavirus. So Kobe Bryant obviously tragically died. We did a podcast on that last week. Shook me up pretty good. We talked about that a lot. Well, it's always interesting to see the responses of people when things like this happen. Whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Bumble, whatever. And there's always one thing that happens where you're like, well, that probably shouldn't have happened. And Ari Shaffir, who is a comedian, and I'm sure you know him if you watch any of the stuff with that whole posse of Joe Rogan, Bert Kreischer, Brendan Shaw, Brian Callen, Chris D'Elia, Tom Segura. Ari Shaffir pops up all the time. And I watch a few of those guys' content and keep up with them a little bit. Rogan, Brendan Shaw because of King of the Sting, Chris D'Elia every once in a while. But that's really the only way I know Ari Shaffir. And Ari Shaffir came out with a rather interesting take on the Kobe Bryant death. And let's go ahead and just roll the footage.
As I know, there's always a lot of hate, pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories. And every once in a while, there's a good story. A good story comes out. The guy who got away with rape got his today. Kobe Bryant is gone. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have raped that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. But anyway, the point is, dude, it's like
what that, to quote Mark Wahlberg, why the fuck would he say that? I mean, in what universe is this the response? And look, there's a lot to undo here. There's a lot to kind of get into. And I want to preface this with saying, throughout my entire career, throughout every video I've made, multiple podcasts, I've mentioned that art, our comedy, can come, and most of the time comes from a place of hurt or a place of, you can't have funny without sadness. Most of the time, the best comedians are people who have gone through stuff. Very rarely are the best comedians, trust fund babies who have no experiences. So I am very careful when I talk about comedy can't be somewhere. You can't make fun of something, or you can't make a joke out of something. And I usually err on the side of everything can be, made a joke of. And I think to my core, I still believe that. To my core, I believe that nothing's off limits, per se. And there is a way to make light or a way to creatively be funny about a situation. Anthony Jeselnik kind of showed this. He's another kind of shock humor guy. And he had a tweet, I think the day after, or maybe the night that the Kobe announcement. But it was like a rapper or somebody was making a new CD or a new song, and Jeselnik said something to the tune of, "Just when you thought this day couldn't get any worse." And that is very carefully using the Kobe tragedy to make a joke. He's not making fun of the Kobe tragedy. He's making fun of... I don't have to explain the joke. I'm not going to explain the joke to y'all. But that... No problem with that, right? No problem with what Jizzleneck did. With Ari and this Instagram video, it actually started with a tweet. He tweeted the Kobe Bryant tweet about how he was a rapist and it's a good thing that's happened, and big ups to the guy who didn't put gas in the chopper. And then he doubled down with the video that we showed when he was in Charlotte. And to me, one, like I said, I will always defend the attempt at making a joke or the attempt at humor. And I will always defend that. But this wasn't even an attempt to be funny. This wasn't even an attempt to make a joke. This was just downright mean, downright deplorable and disgusting, and just shocking to be the sake of shocking. This was something totally different. And when I first read it and first saw the video, to be quite honest, I was disgusted. It made me sick. Like, it made me sick to even watch. The video is so much worse because he's smirking, he's looking at you, he's saying it. When you're on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and you make a comment, you're hiding or you're veiled, right? You're not breaking that wall. It's just words. It's just reading something. It's just reading something kind of shocking. And we're pretty used to that now with social media. We're pretty used to this idea of like these shocking things or whatever. And it's just a picture. It's like a still picture of a profile picture, mostly an egg most of the time. You read it, you move on. But the video, it attacks like every sense. It attacks your eyes. You're watching this person. You're reading their eyes. You're reading their facial expressions. You're reading their body language. You're seeing them smirking. You're seeing their lips moving. Everything around them. You're feeling their energy. Then you're hearing the way they're saying it and the way that they're inflecting certain words and the way that they're pronouncing things and how they're saying it. It's just an attack on you on every sense. And the video is just so much worse to me. And it is just shocking to see. And, I'm not big into breaking down jokes or I don't like when humor is taken super seriously. I think jokes and funny is just kind of what it's supposed to be. It just is what it is, Anytime people try and break it down into this artistic Picasso thing, I think that it loses a little bit of what funny is. And so I don't want to get into the ethics and the philosophy of humor, but I just don't think that this is that. I think that this is someone who is hurting or someone who has got some real stuff going on, and this is just a reflection of that. But saying, I was just joking, or I'm a comedian, or I'm making fun of this, or lighten up, I think that's just that's just like a coward way out. Humor isn't just I can say whatever I want because I'm trying to be funny. A joke isn't I can say whatever I want even if it's not funny, and I can say I was trying to be funny. Should he be allowed to say these things? Sure. Yeah, no problem. But should there be repercussions? Like, is it okay to be like, hey man, this offended me. Hey man, this sucked. Hey man, I hated this. Should we be able to do that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix needs to go ahead and watch his back because Ari Shaffir is currently the biggest clown in the world. I mean, it's just repulsive, to be honest. And a lot of people are absolutely going after him on Twitter and making videos and talking about this, and deservedly. I don't think, obviously, people are putting out as like a street address. I don't think people should do that. I think that's just inciting a mob. I think that's a riot. I don't think people should be attacking him at his home. But I think when you do put something out like that, especially when you're in the public eye. I mean, if I said something crazy on this podcast and put it out on YouTube, not a lot of people would see it, but it's still me putting out me to whoever can see it, right? I mean, you never know. So it's so different than saying some shocking stuff to your 4 friends while you're watching football, because they understand the entire complexity of what's going on. They understand the entire complexity of you as a person. They understand the entire complexity of, you're just saying something shocking to be shocking. And then they can take that, and they don't have to start cackling. They don't have to, love it. They might not even react to it. They may just know what it is. But that's just there. But if you put that out into the universe, you have no clue who's going to see it, what they know about you, what they understand about the situation, what they believe about you. And if they interpret that and that hurts them, if a friend of Kobe Bryant were to see that video from Ari Shaffir, the friend of Kobe Bryant would not be cool with just, oh man, he's just a comedian. He's just kind of be shocking. And say, okay, well that's he's being an asshole. If I'm a really good friend of Kobe Bryant and I'm at Kobe Bryant's funeral and Ari Shaffir tells me that Kobe's a rapist and it's good that he died, I'm not going to take that as just shock humor, right? I'm going to feel pretty bad. I know that's an extreme situation because you're at the funeral, all that stuff, but whenever you put stuff out on that medium of it's just out here, you have to take that stuff into account. Someone who is, let's take the funeral thing out of it. Shaquille O'Neal. Obviously, him and Kobe have a really interesting history, and Shaquille O'Neal is hurting right now. You can tell in interviews, and he's been really emotional. And there's no telling how he's dealing with this. He's probably really struggling with it. And if he saw this, which I'm sure he did, if he saw this, I would think Shaquille O'Neal is pissed. And Shaquille O'Neal should be pissed. And Shaquille O'Neal lives in Los Angeles. And what if Shaquille O'Neal went to one of Ari's comedy shows? Does Ari back down from his comments and say, look, man, I'm just a comedian, it's just a joke? Or does something else happen? And is that okay? Like, whenever you say things like that, it's almost like you're saying, I want all the smoke. I want all the hate. I want it all. And there really is no security blanket for you not to get that, And that's why these things are so weird. And it's such a weird thing for these comedians to do, is this like insane shock humor. And for Ari, I don't get what the point is, because let's say he's doing it as a joke. Okay, well, who's going to find this joke funny? Westboro Baptist members? The people picketing military funerals? Like, who thinks this joke is hilarious? Is that who you want in your audience? Do you want to sell out a show of 1,000 people, and those 1,000 and during your comedy show, people are holding up signs that say all gays go to hell? Like, is that the kind of people you want in your fan base? Westboro Baptist people and neo-Nazis and internet trolls? Is that the goal? To make a joke that they love? Because no one else is going to love this. Is the goal to just get publicity? Because we all know the old adage of all publicity is good publicity. I don't think it is. I think this is officially not good publicity. I think we found it. Because like I said, I'm not watching Ari Shaffir stuff on the regular or at all. But now, it just kind of makes me go, it makes me just, my skin crawl. I mean, if I watch somebody, abuse an animal for the sake of being shocking, it's like, hey man, yeah, that was pretty shocking to watch, but it was also disgusting. I also hated it. Like, it's not art. It's not you being shocking or out of control. You know, like Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off of a parrot or a pigeon or whatever it was. Yeah, that was pretty shocking. I hate that. Like, I don't want to watch that. And that's how I felt with this Ari Shaffir thing. And I've seen a few comedians who know him and who work with him kind of come out and talk about it. And if I had a friend, if I was in that sphere, and if I had a friend who did this, I'd be pretty concerned for my friend. I'd be concerned how he was doing internally. I'd be concerned, hey man, what the hell is going on? Like, were you on drugs? Are you okay? That'd be my thought. It wouldn't be like, oh man, you really tried something crazy there. I see where you were going with that piece of art. It wouldn't be like, oh man, you took a risk. No, it would be, hey dude, do you need someone to talk to? Do you need someone there for you, man? You're kind of freaking me out. And I just think honestly, I just think it's awful. And it's such a weird balance with making jokes like that because, you know, when you watch someone like Norm Macdonald on his YouTube podcast, video podcast thing, and I've referenced him a lot. Norm Macdonald is one of the biggest role models or muses or whatever when it comes to me and my creative kind of process. And Norm does that kind of stuff a lot, where he'll take a really serious subject and he'll kind of morph it into a joke or something. And he is a guy who does it with some tact and some class. And there is a way, I want to make that really clear, that there is a way to do that. And there is a way. I'm not gonna sit here and say like people should be making fun of the Kobe thing, but if someone were to make a joke about that, then it's like, well, like when I think Amy Schumer made a joke, and I can't believe I'm using Amy Schumer as an example. She made a joke about, I think one of the Jackass people dying, Ryan Dunn, at I think Steve-O's roast. Now, that's an example of the joke was probably okay, but in that situation, like, there's still human decency. Like, do you still want to be saying that to a guy whose really good friend died in a car accident? You know? At what point does human decency trump the shock factor or the joke factor? And I think this is a good example of just being downright disrespectful, and a good example of being downright just a mean person, a bad person. And I think it's disgusting, to be honest. I think it's awful. So it was a tough one for Ari. I'd be surprised if Ari bounced back from this one. It'll be interesting to see kind of how he moves on from here, how his career looks from here, you know, or how he even handles it. You know, this is something where maybe it comes out that he is struggling and that maybe he is having some problems. I don't know. But tough look for Ari. Let's move right along. Kind of in that same world. Recently, Joe Rogan came out and said on his podcast that he would vote for Bernie Sanders in the presidential election.
Who are you going to vote for in the primary?
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. Him as a human being, when I was hanging out with him, and
yeah.
I believe in him. I like him a lot. What Bernie stands for is a guy who, well, look, you could dig up dirt on every single human being that's ever existed if you catch them in their worst moment, and you magnify those moments, and you cut out everything else, and you only display those worst moments. That said, you can't find very many with Bernie. He's been insanely consistent his entire life.
And, you know, I mean, whatever, to each their own. I wouldn't vote for Bernie Sanders, but whatever, doesn't matter. But the insane thing is the backlash from the left. So the wicked left, the alt left, I guess you could say, was basically telling Bernie to denounce the love from Joe, because, you know, Joe's a comedian. Joe Rogan is a very honest podcaster. He's a very open thinker, free thinker. And he's not a PC guy. He believes a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And like we have talked about in this podcast, he believes that women should play in women's sport leagues and men should play in men's sport leagues, and a man transitioning to a woman should not be fighting actual women. Which, on this show, I've made multiple videos on. I couldn't agree more. I think that eventually someone will die. I think eventually a woman will get hurt. I think eventually, if we allow men transitioning to women to compete in women's sports, eventually there will be no women in women's sports. It'll just be men's sports, and then men transitioning to women's sports. Like that, we've already done this. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But so the radical left just went bananas on this Joe Rogan thing. And it just goes to show why they aren't going to beat Trump. And they just are so incredibly tone deaf. And to denounce Joe Rogan's nod, I mean, this is a guy, biggest podcaster in the world, media reach comparable with the biggest media corporations. I would guess just as much people are listening to Joe Rogan and getting news from Joe Rogan and getting information from Joe Rogan as they are from CNN and MSNBC. I would much rather have an hour on Joe Rogan's podcast than an hour on an MSNBC show. And I can't even name an MSNBC show, and that should really do all the talking. And the fact that they're like, no, Bernie, reject him. He said this, he's not PC, he said these things. That reasoning, that like knee-jerk reaction, that immediate thought process is the exact reason that they'll lose to Trump. And that Trump will just walk through this election. And that kind of will be the interesting riddle they have to solve, is what does the left do? Does the left keep marching to that drum and just get more radical? Or does the left eventually kind of see what's going on, kind of understand what's going on, and morph a little bit and ease up on some of that? Because this was just such a good example of why it ain't gonna work. And Bernie, up until this point, I don't think Bernie's made a response, but he may have by this time, and I may not have known about it yet. But Bernie has a really interesting choice, because if Bernie does denounce it, I think that's the end of his campaign. Because Bernie is banking on a lot of these millennials and a lot of these kind of relatively progressive thinking, open thinking people to back him. And a lot of those people listen to these podcasts. Maybe not Joe Rogan's podcast, but they are in that world. And so if he pushes back against that world in order to make the establishment happy, in order to make the rigid left happy, that's going to piss off a lot of his millennial backers and a lot of the people that he's counting on to at least get the Democratic nod. So if I was Bernie, I'd be like, look, the Dems already screwed me over once with Hillary, and I think I have a shot here to at least be in the conversation of the Democratic nod if I have this group, this power group of the younger kind of generation, not totally millennials, but in that age range. I'd say 22 to 35, somewhere in there, which I guess are some millennials. 22 to 35. He needs that group. That group is not going to like if he pushes back against their culture. So Bernie's got a lot to think about right there. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to take a really quick break. I got to go plug in. This laptop is about to die and it has all the topics on it, and I will be lost at sea. I will be a captain lost if we don't take this break. So we're going to take a really quick commercial break. We're going to take a really quick break. Seriously, probably like 5 seconds for y'all, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Thank you for hanging out. Big news big news in the world of media, gambling, sports, whatever. Penn National Gaming has partnered with Barstool Sports in an enormous deal. Let's read it. Penn National to acquire 36% interest in Barstool Sports for total cash and stock consideration of $163 million, with a valuation of Barstool being $450 million. This is huge. And this is that moment where gambling, sports gambling content, whatever you want to say it is real. This is the next boom. This is the next thing you can go ahead and see, or you will go ahead and see all over ESPN, all over Fox Sports, all over everything is going to be sports gaming, sports gambling. This is the next fantasy sports. This is the next, or it already is here. I don't know why I keep saying the next, because it's already here. But remember whenever fantasy sports got like legitimized and Matthew Berry kind of ushered in that fantasy sports content, and then everywhere, it was all over the place. Every sports channel, every sports content provider has a fantasy sports outlet or fantasy sports, creators. Gambling is next. You will see so many gambling shows pop up, so many gambling podcasts, so many gambling reporters and notifications, and this is the next bubble. This is the next boom. And as someone who has been gambling for a long time, I do live in a place with 14 casinos. I do live in a place that some call mini Vegas. And I've been around this hustle for a minute. I've lost my fair share at blackjack tables and sports books. I've been doing this. And it's interesting to see how gaming or how gambling kind of gets legalized across the country and how this just explodes. And this is the obvious tipping point where Barstool Sports, in my opinion, if I were drafting sports media outlets, sports media producers, I would draft Barstool number one. I would draft them over ESPN. I would draft them over Fox Sports. I would draft them over The Ringer. I would draft them over the Action Network. I would draft them over the Athletic. I would draft them over the Undisputed. It doesn't matter. I think Barstool and what Dave Portnoy has done is incredible. Absolutely incredible in every sense of the word. They were way in the forefront of how media works now, with this digital, huge group that pumps out everything. The Ringer is really good about this, specifically the Ringer's podcast network, because no matter what you are interested in, they have a podcast for it. They have content for it. And that is the future of media, I feel, is these compartmentalized companies who can put out a ton of media in very different forms. And nobody does it better than Barstool. Barstool, when I started watching Barstool or reading Barstool, it was just a blog, was probably 10 years ago or so. And it was broken up into cities. It was broken up into regions. So you had like Barstool Chicago, Barstool New York, Barstool Boston. And they talked about their region. And then on the coming together on the website, it gave you basically Barstool America. And then it branched out into other things. And then slowly went the trend of how now you have Barstool Wrestling, you have Barstool Gaming, you have Barstool Bets, you have Barstool Chicks, you have Barstool Hockey, Barstool Baseball, but whatever. Just like the Ringer did, just like Bill Simmons does. I mean, the Ringer has their MLB show, their NFL show, their NBA show. They do it the same way. And I've said before that I thought that was the way media would go, and lo and behold, it has. Lo and behold, I have predicted something else. Unbelievable. But it's interesting to see how Barstool will move forward with this obvious, huge commitment to gaming. Will they open up books? Will they have a Barstool Sportsbook? Will they have a Barstool Casino? Will there be Barstool areas inside of casinos? Will there be restaurants in these casinos? I mean, there's 2 casinos where I live that Penn owns. I'd be stunned if Penn didn't start putting Barstool things in these casinos. I mean, I think a Barstool pizza place is the most obvious and the fastest. I mean, that makes so much sense. Some people just know Dave Portnoy from his pizza reviews. They don't even know the Barstool lore. They just know the pizza reviews. So opening up pizza shops with Barstool all over it, Prez all over it, review scores for the pizzas, genius. And along with the books, these college kids coming out of college, just starting to bet, they want to bet just how Barstool does. So Barstool branded sports books, Barstool branded blackjack tables, Barstool branded whatever at all these casinos is a real damn thing. Live shows, that we see something that I think Barstool really kind of created, and I think is genius, is what they call the electric chair, and watching these events live. Betting on a Monday Night Football game and then streaming them watching the game live. I love the idea. I've never watched one because I'm watching the game, doing my own thing, but I love the idea. And if I had a media conglomerate, we would do the same thing. We would live stream watching the Super Bowl, live stream watching football games, betting on it. Everyone knows what the bets are. Everyone's rooting together. People love that. So being able to do that in a sports book, I mean, imagine Barstool touring around to these Penn casinos, and let's say it's a Saturday college football, and they're at that casino in that sports book, and you can buy tickets to go in there all day, watch games with the Barstool people on the big screens. Everyone's rooting for the same thing. That is gambling nirvana. And that is something I think Penn realizes is worth a lot more than $163 million. I'm kind of surprised at the total valuation. I think Barstool, because I think The Athletic got like 500, or is valued like maybe it was Bill Simmons' podcast network, but one of them was valued at like $500 million. And I think Barstool, like I said, I think Barstool is better and bigger and more respected than ESPN. I think ESPN's kind of shilly, kind of corporate, kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think Barstool and Barstool's fans are just rabid and are about it. They can almost do no wrong. And so it shocks me that they're valued for that little. Because I would be shocked if they are not the biggest sports media, whatever phrase you want to use, because they're just an all-around media thing in the world. Or at least in the United States. The world's tough, but at least the United States. They will be the biggest thing. And they're doing it still relatively in-house. When they branch out into full-on TV studios and shows and networks and whatever, I mean, when they say that the rocket ship is going to the moon, they really freaking believe it. And it is. There is no stopping Barstool. But a huge move. What I'll say about the people who are new to gambling, buckle up. It's a tough world. I started really gambling when I was a freshman in college and started off with $10 hockey parlays and just terrible ass bets. Nowadays I'm a little more sharp. Nowadays I'm a little more watching trends and picking my spots. Still losing my ass, but that's gambling for you. But if you're just getting into it, be careful. Absolutely be careful. If you're just reading it, watching Barstool for the first time, and wanting to get into gaming, good lord, it's tough. That's going to be interesting to see is how big gambling gets, or as gambling gets bigger, how much we see, people just getting busted up. I mean, gambling is addictive. It's a weird addiction because it's a poison. I don't know I have no idea how we turned on this subject, but it's not like alcoholism where you feel it every step of the way, like you're getting drunker and drunker. Gambling, you go on a bad run, especially with a place where you can bet kind of on credit. You go on a bad run, you're $5,000-$6,000 down. You've got $400 in your bank account. Not good. But gambling's awesome. I love it. I do it a lot. Obviously do it responsibly, same with drinking or whatever, but this acquisition is enormous. People will be popping up everywhere. Gambling content producers. Don't listen to them. Only listen to me. We have a sports channel that we put gambling stuff up on. So go check it out there. I actually did like a 20-part, I think it was a 14-part series on the beginning of how to begin sports gambling. So if you are interested in learning how to start gambling, like your friends at Barstool or your friend here, then go check it out. I'll leave a link below. But yeah, it's like 14 videos taking you along how to begin your steps gambling. So make sure to check that out. Next on the list. Let's see. Let me check my handy dandy list here. Next on the list. Oh yeah. Let me pull this story up. So a coach recently got in some hot water. I think an offensive coordinator. Let me get this pulled up. There we go. Having to do this on the fly here in my new studio. So Grand Valley State. We have a breaking news. So Grand Valley State assistant offensive coordinator, more like offensive coordinator if you know what I mean, resigns after some comments. So he was suspended earlier this week, and again, name's Morris Berger, offensive coordinator or offensive coordinator at Grand Valley State. So he does an interview with the student newspaper, not USA Today, not New York Times, the student newspaper. He does an interview. And one of the questions was which 3 historical figures he would like to have dinner with. His first answer, the first thing out of his mouth, the first answer, the first response, pop goes the weasel, first thing he could think of. Adolf Hitler. Damn it. Not the play, not the look. This is his answer. This is a quote. This is probably not going to get a good review, but I'm going to say Adolf Hitler. It was obviously very sad and he had bad motives, but the way he was able to lead was second to none. How he rallied a group and a following. I want to know how he did that. Bad intentions, of course, but you can't deny he wasn't a great leader. Damn it, Morris. Brother, what are you doing? What are you doing, son? Not the time. Not the time or the place. Look, guys, here's a really easy way to handle this. Don't ever say you want to eat lunch with Hitler. That's it. Just remove Hitler. Like if you have an answer bank for any question you go through in life. Let's say you're on a job interview, right? Who would you consider a role model? In your answer bank of however many people you want to put in there, remove Hitler. Next question. Who would you say you look like the most? Remove him from the answer bank. That's it. Next. Which German figure had the worst facial hair? Remove him. Even if he's the right answer. Remove him from your answer bank. There's never a time and a place, especially in a student newspaper. No one even reads a student newspaper. If you do an interview with a student newspaper and people read it, it's because you messed up. That's it. You know how many times I've read a student newspaper? 0. I work at a university. I don't read the student newspaper. When I was in college, I didn't read the student newspaper. If you do an interview with them and people know you did an interview with them, it's because you screwed up really bad. Just don't say Hitler. I mean, I get what he was trying to say, but damn it. That's like, think of a good guy, right? Think of a good leader, or think of a good person who led a group of people. Like, I don't know, Jesus. Say, you know who I would like to have lunch with? Jesus. Because Jesus didn't question his motives. Pure motives. He led a lot of people, had a pretty big following, great speaker, turned 3 fish and 2 loaves of bread into a all-you-can-eat fried fish buffet. Hitler didn't do that. Hitler killed millions of people. Jesus. Great answer. Obama. You could say, hey, look, man, I didn't vote for him. I don't even vote. I'm not even American. I don't even know where the voting polls are. But you can't question the guy amassed a following. The guy was a great speaker. The guy was a great leader. And guess what, Morris? No one reads the article. No one reads it. They just skim it. And they see you said Obama. They see you said your favorite food is strawberry milkshakes. They say they see your favorite show is Cheers. Who gives a shit? No one cares, Morris. You're at Grand Valley State. What are you doing trying to be Mr. Provocative, Mr. Outside the Box Thinker? What is this? This isn't a some philosophy class. I was trying to say philosophical. Philosophy class. This isn't a philosophy class at Yale. There's no need to make people's brains melt with how out of the box you are. Morris, just relax. I could do rapid fire with whoever, the biggest newspaper in the world, the biggest student newspaper in the world. I would never be like Hitler. For any question. Tony Robbins. Who do I want to eat lunch with? Tony Robbins. Conor McGregor. Easy. Safe. Why? Tony Robbins started with nothing really. Bad childhood. Somehow made $500 million being a motivational speaker. I want to know how he did that. He's a great businessman. Where did he learn that? How did he amass his fortune? Does he believe in what he says? Blah, blah, blah. Easy. Conor McGregor. I want to know about all his self-belief. He believes in himself. He sees the future. He believes in the secret. He believes in seeing your own ideas. Does he really? How did he get to where he is now? What's he think about now that he's a multi-millionaire? Doesn't matter. Who cares? Morris. I just did your interview. Did you notice how I didn't say Saddam Hussein? Did you notice how I didn't say Mussolini? It ain't hard. It ain't hard, brother. I mean, Jim Jones led a lot of people too. I don't want to eat lunch with him. I specifically don't want to have drinks with him. I'll tell you that much. I specifically don't want to go have drinks. I mean, Charles Manson. Hey, man. He led people. He was charismatic. Don't say him. Don't say him. Say a fictional character. I don't care. Say an animal. Don't care. This is just bad move. Real bad move. Morris. Damn. Everyone watching, everyone listening, write this down. Rule number 1 when doing interviews. Do not say you like Hitler. That's free advice you're getting here on the James Skrmetta Show. Let's keep on moving, shall we? Let's keep on moving. Let's do the last story, because I think we've gone for about an hour. We'll do the last story here. We don't need to take up more than an hour of time. What the hell is this? What is this, The Irishman? Let's move on. So a reporter is more Kobe stories out of the Kobe tragedy. A reporter. Let's just show the clip.
On the Los Angeles Lakers community, if I could ask you to...
So she came out and said that she combined Knicks and Lakers into Nakers and made a whoopsie. Certainly a mistake. And people are blasting her for thinking that she said the N-word. Now, guys, I'm not going to sit here and say, that she did or she didn't. But let's let her have the benefit of the doubt. Okay? Let's give her the benefit of the doubt here. Let's say she is a flaming racist. Okay? Let's say she watches American History X every night and she thinks, you know what? I kind of like what I'm hearing. You know what? Maybe this guy's got a point. Maybe she does that. If that's the case, do you think that at that moment she was so incensed by her racism, she was so pissed off at the opposite race, that she decided then and now was the time to drop her first live N-bomb? I don't think so. I think this was a mistake. I think she dropped Nakers or whatever whatever combined that happened in her head, whatever combination that accidentally came out of her mouth, I believe 100% it was a whoopsie poopsie mistake. I don't think this woman was trying to incite a full-on race war, full-on World War III at that moment. And anyone who does is insane. Anyone who truly believes that woman right there took that moment to say, this is my time to shine. This is my time to show the world that I'm the biggest racist of all time. I do not think that she did that. And if you think that, maybe you're just crazy. Maybe you have it so much in your head. Maybe you're thinking about that word so much in your head that you just hear it everywhere. Maybe you're just projecting whatever's in your world. Maybe you're just throwing that out into the universe. And anytime you even think you hear it, that's the word. And the person that said it's a racist. And I'm angry now. How angry are you if you heard that? What's wrong with your world? What's happening in your world, Dylan Roof? Is Dylan Roof the person who made the call and said, I think that person said the N-word? Is that who started all this? Is Dylan Roof sitting there watching this news report and says, oops, she did it, I'm off the hook, she did it. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear what she said? Can you please unlock this cell? I think that's what happened. Because nobody in their right mind could be like, yeah, watching this report and then hear that and say, she definitely said that. I know she said that. I watched it. We all just watched it. Or heard it, however you're watching the program. And I understand that she just made a mistake. And she combined some words. And then as she said it, she probably thought instantly, oh no, that sounded a lot like the N-word. Not good. And this isn't Django Unchained. I can't just start throwing that word around and get by with it. I can't just sling that around. I am not A$AP Rocky. I cannot say that. I'm not even Logic. Logic is the only person I know who gets a pass saying that. I'm not Logic. Okay? And she's not Logic. I know that for sure. So she knows when she said that awful combination of those words that created that sound, she thought there's a checklist that goes off in your head. Am I Logic? No. Did I direct Django Unchained? No. Am I starring in Django Unchained? No. At the end of that survey, it says, then you shouldn't have said it. And that's when she probably went, poop. This is not going to look good. Now, did she expect the nation to say, nope, we heard what you said. You said it. You're a racist. Get off the TV. No. She understands we're forgiving people, like me. She understands that we understand that she didn't actually say the word. It was just a whoops. So guys, give her a damn break. Give her a break out there. We've all accidentally said something. Okay? Have you ever been in class or giving a presentation and you have to say the word disc and you accidentally say dicks? Happens all the time. Happens all the time. That's just one example. Everyone knows you're not in front of the class. Everyone knows you're not giving a presentation on dicks. Everyone knows you're talking about discs. It's easy. The mind is a crazy thing. The mouth is a crazy thing. But our ears and our brain, when we're hearing it, doesn't have to be a crazy thing, people. It can be an understanding thing. It can be an understanding thing. That third cup of coffee, I think, has hit me. I'm not even sure what I just said for the past 10 minutes. I just blacked out. I woke up and I'm talking about dicks, discs, and brains and mouths, and I don't know what the hell we were talking about. I'm not even sure what topic we're on. But I know that we've been talking for about an hour and 15 minutes here, live, on this beautiful Friday morning. It's now about 9:30. I'm feeling better, looking better, sounding better, because the morning's getting longer. If it was reverse, if it was about 5:30, an hour after I woke up, I'd look like a swamp creature. Guys, thank you for hanging out here. Thank you for listening. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. Please refer this video to anybody. If you know a studio designer or an interior decorator, please send them my way. I have to fix this. I have to fix this studio. I cannot do this wall anymore. I need shelves here. I need something. Help me in the comments below. Tweet at me, DM, whatever. Socials are in the description. Thank you very much again for listening. I've gotten a lot of great feedback over the first 2 podcasts we did this year. This one is the most normal podcast that we'll do. First one was kind of a recap. Second one was just a Kobe tribute. This one is how it will usually be. News stories. Boom, 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 boom. And so thank you very much for listening. I appreciate that. By the time you see this, I will be in the Lone Star State. Or I guess when I'm there, the 2-star state, if you know what I'm saying. Because the second star is flying in. It's me. And my arms are going to be tired. If you know what I'm saying. That's a flying joke right there. That's a flying joke. Guys, thank you again for listening to the James Skrmetta Show. I will see you next week.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.